Good morning, everybody. Look at that chat room already filled up. Welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment. If you are not watching this live and you would like to skip ahead to the start of the actual show, just click the little link down below with the time code. Skip past the morning pleasantries. How is everybody this morning? Hopefully you all had a great weekend. We had like a fake spring again. It got really nice yesterday. I was able to barbecue, and this morning it was below freezing again. It's supposed to snow this weekend. I just, I don't get it. I'm ready for some proper warm weather. How about you guys? All right, let's see what's going on here in the chat room this morning. There's a bunch of stuff already happening. GH5 has shipped. Excellent, fake cubed. Always good to hear. Hoping to get it tomorrow, but UPS says Wednesday. Well, sometimes UPS takes its time. Martin says, I'm still waiting. Had to moan at the supplier today as people are walking into shops and getting them over the counter. And you had your order in for 2 months. That is a little annoying, isn't it? I would definitely complain about that. Seems like sometimes with 1 day shipping it says 2 days. Yeah, that's just nasty. Nasty. All right. Pardon me. Still just got a little bit of this cold left over here. Martin says, I won't be recommending Wex Photographic in the UK to anyone after this. Yikes. Well, there you go, Wex. That's got to deliver to the people who order in advance. Take care of your customers. And try to make money off the people walking in the door. Fake Cube says, one thing about Amazon is they have really great customer service. I know if I don't get mine tomorrow, they'll refund the 1 day shipping. That is true, isn't it? And they usually do it automatically. You don't even have to ask. It's pretty slick. Do like Amazon. Absolutely. All right, well, good morning, Martin. Good morning, Fake Cube. Good morning, Jess. Everybody's saying good morning in there. And Charbax asking what my live setup is. I am possibly going to even start that video sequence this week. I've got it planned out in my head. It's going to be a 3-part, 3-day series because this whole thing is so big. But I've been thinking about it a lot, and I think I have the complete process start to finish mapped out in my head. I'm going to write it down, make sure it makes sense. But Wax, I will very likely be starting that this week, as soon as Wednesday. No guarantees, no promises, but as soon as Wednesday. It's all here. It's got to get it down and do it for real. Let's see here. Jess is saying I have an iPhone photo question. I was trying to take a photo of my daughter wearing a white dress, but the lighting was blue. My phone corrected for the dress and turned into a Smurf. Oh no. That's excuse me, that's terrible. I can't say I've had that problem before. I don't know. You'd have to I changed the lighting. It had to have to do with the lighting, the existing lighting in the room, but I don't know. Brent says, does anyone know when the XL1 ships? Do you mean this? Is that what you mean? You don't mean this, do you? It must be shipping, because I got one. I'm doing an unboxing on these tomorrow. So these are shipping, because mine are production units. This is not pre-production early access. This is full production, so there you go. Tomorrow we'll do the unboxing on that. Jorge says, cheers once more. Still waiting for your kit, plus the 100-400 Panasonic lens. Seems forever. I know it does take forever sometimes, doesn't it? You got the 100-400 coming. Very nice. Very nicely done. All right. At least that time I was able to turn the audio down. Sorry. Yeah, remnants. Okay. Charbax says, I'm considering to get it when I go to Hong Kong, when I'll be in Hong Kong next week if it's in stock there. Super. Well, there you go. Always a good place to get it. Okay, so today's show is the Q&A, going through the questions that I have tagged over the last week as ones that I want to address live on the show. Hopefully I've got everything I need. If not, Ryan out there will run and grab something for me. But I think we're ready to get this thing started. So, shall we do this? Let's do this. Let's try it. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to PhotoJoseph's Photo Moment, the first live daily photo show every weekday live, 9:30 a.m. Pacific. During the weeks, on the weekdays of work. If it's a holiday, I ain't working. Hope you guys are have yourselves a good weekend. We are getting into the Q&A today. This is a Q&A show. We're addressing all the tough questions that came out over the last week that I felt were too long for me to answer like so. I gotta tell you, the Google Chat, a Q&A management, comments management system kind of sucks. So it's a little challenging, which actually is a fair point. If you've posted a comment somewhere with a question and I haven't addressed it at all, I haven't commented, I haven't responded, I haven't said I'll address it later, post it again. Sometimes they just get completely lost. It's weird. And try to avoid putting URLs in because those always get flagged as spam. I will see it eventually and move it out of spam, assuming it's not, obviously. But that does put a delay on things because I don't see that until I sit down at my desk and go through them. So anyway, all right, let's just get this started. I'm not sure how many questions there are today. Doesn't look like too many, but we'll see what we got. Okay. Okay, the first one we actually already did. We did a whole show on it. The first question was from Fayde 7, and I don't know why I ended up doing a whole show. Anyway, the question was about accessing the VFR mode. So we did a whole show on that last Friday. So if you missed that, link there, we will show you, or we did show you, how to access VFR on the camera. So there you go. So there's your question answered. All right. Siu Liang says, I have a question. If I buy a lens from third party with stabilizer, does it work on dual IS or it won't work as good as a Panasonic lens? Okay, so my understanding, now this is, I could be mistaken here, but my understanding is that the dual IS, where the body and the lens works together, only works with the Panasonic lenses. I think. I was trying to get a confirmation and I didn't get one, which is why I still have to say I think. Which means that the answer is yes, you will get the best stabilization with Panasonic lenses on the GH5. And this is specific to the GH5. I think, well, there's a couple of cameras that do dual. There's the GX8 does dual. The GX85, does GX8 do dual? G85 probably. Sorry, I don't know offhand all the different models that do. But if it does dual in body and lens, in general, yes. My understanding is you will get better stabilization with a Panasonic lens. The beauty of having both in body and in lens is that if you have even a lens that is not stabilized at all, you still get stabilization because it's built into the body. Back in the yesteryear, the GX7, if memory serves, was the only Panasonic body that had built-in stabilization in the body. So then from there, it was quite a while. It was a number of years, I think, before stabilization came back into the body. It was one of those benefits that Olympus bodies had. And but now, of course, the Lumix ones, pretty much all models these days have it, at least the higher end models. So again, in brief, yes, but given that the in-body stabilization, even on its own, is so good, even if your lens does have stabilization, but it's from a third party, or doesn't have it at all, you should still get very good stabilization with your camera. Robert is asking, what company prints your photos on metal? I use Bay Imaging? Hold on, let me make sure that's right. I think Bay Photo? I think that's it. Yeah, Bay Photo Lab is where I had my metal black and whites done, and then the color ones, chroma something, let's see here, chroma print? No, chroma, let me try chroma print. Chroma prints, let me see, this might be it. Nope, that's definitely not it. Darn it. All right, hold on. Tough question. See, you throw these tough questions at me here. Print. No. Darn it. Okay. It's like chrome something. Magnachrome. Yes, this is it. Hideous website. Don't judge their website because it's horrendous, but these are the metal color prints that I do. They're great. I mean, they're really, really nice quality. The guy it's kind of a very small company. The guys who do it, very responsive to any support questions you have. Love the quality of the print. And I highly recommend the Luster, which is a halfway between the matte and the glossy. The glossy is so glossy, unless you're going to hang it somewhere where you are going to light it, specifically light it. You know you're controlling the lighting. It can be too glossy. You can get reflections from everything. So the semi-gloss is a good way. The Luster is a good way to go. Matte looks great as well, and you can hang that anywhere, but you lose some of that really cool pop. So there you go. Hope that answers your question. Sorry, guys. I know that's just horrible, but man's got to breathe. Okay. Next, Ryan. Ryan's talking. Oh, good. Yes, Ryan. Thank you for reminding people to throw an @ in front of the chat name. Anime says, many reviews say the autofocus on the GH5 is disappointing and unreliable. Do you agree? Ha, no. I will be discussing that. Actually, it's one of the questions on here. I'm going to discuss that a little bit more in this show. AB says, what is the best 4K camera under $1,000 for filming video that will provide sharp images and good results in low light? My choice would be the GX85. I don't know what the G85 costs, but I know the GX85 is under $1,000, and that is bitchin' little camera. Love it. Okay, back to the questions. Chrissy says, I wish I was able to catch the live show, but the timing sucks for Australians. Sorry. Nevertheless, thanks for the amazing vids. I've been waiting for a few reviews to pop up on the GH5. I think I'm finally ready to pull the trigger. Should I go with the 12 to 35 Mark II or the 12 to 60? I don't have the original 12 to 35, but I have the 35 to 100 and the Leica 15. Okay, so the reason I put this in here was because I wanted to have this discussion again of lens choice. And I know I talked about this, I don't know, in previous shows multiple times. Lens choice is not an easy, oh, this is the one that you should get. But that said, if you're looking for a universal catch-all lens, the new 12-60 is a great choice. If you want something a little bit faster though, then the 12-35 is going to give you that speed. If you don't mind having two lenses, 12-35 2.8 and a 35-100 2.8 is going to give you that full range. In 35mm full frame equivalent, that'd be a 24-200. Full range, all at f2.8. You kind of can't go wrong there. But that's two lenses. And more money, obviously. If you want to have a single lens that's going to be a more all-purpose lens, this 12-60 is, I believe, the best choice right now. I think this is a really, really good lens. And me saying right now does not mean there's something better coming. It simply means that that is what I would buy today. If you already have, so Chrissy already has a 35-100 and the Leica 15. Personally, I would round it out with the 12-35 Mark II. That would be my personal choice in that regard. You've already got the longer lens. That 15 is a beautiful, that little Leica 15-1.7 is a beautiful lens. I personally would get the 12-35. That would be my recommendation. So there you go. Okay, more people adding me up here. G85, R.John Creations is saying, G85, $999 with the 12-60 kit lens. Seriously? Okay, that is not this 12-60 though. That's not the new Leica lens. That is an older non-Leica lens. So beware of that. Don't confuse the two. There's no way that that is a kit with a 12-60 Leica. That price is too low. G85 is a great camera. GX85 is a great camera. GX85 has no mic input. That is correct. Forgot about that. Yeah, right. Ah, dang. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. So, right, G85 is probably a better way to go. Okay, Alden Hoot says, many large format printers are able to print on metal. Working with a local crew can give you better communications and results. Absolutely true. The printing on, there's a lot of different parts of printing on metal. There's printing directly onto metal, right, which is the black and white prints that do I have one in here? I don't think there's one in the building. Brian, do I have a black and, I don't think I have a black and white metal print out there. If I do, find it, bring it to me, but I don't think I do. No, he's saying no. It can be printed directly on the metal so that where there would be white, it'd be translucent, seeing through to the white paper. If it were on paper, you see the metal coming through. That I got from Bay Photo, and I love the look of that. I think it was super, super cool. If your local printer can do that, then that's fantastic, obviously. But, you know, it's one of those things of timing, money. Sometimes it's cheaper to get it from somewhere else. You got to experiment. You got to play around. Find somebody you like to work with. But yes, absolutely, shopping local is always a good thing. Working with a local printer can always be a good thing, assuming they can do what you need. Sometimes, though, these prints are very specific, like the Magnachrome guys. That's all they do. Right? You go to a big house that does 500 different types of printing, and it's just a checkbox of a type of printing that they do. Someone like Magnachrome, that's all they do. They live and breathe printing on metal. So odds are you're going to get a little better result out of that. Plus, they're going to do the volume, whereas if you live in a small town like me, the local guys may not be able to do. But again, by all means, work with them, try it out, see what you can do. Okay. But great recommendation always to go local when you can. Craig Schroeder says, I shoot a lot of indoor talking head videos. Any suggestions on a good lens? Stabilization, not a major issue. So I wondered if it would be better to buy one of the older Panasonic lenses. Well, you'd save some money, certainly by buying older glass. Yeah, if you're on sticks, you don't need stabilization, then no need for that. You don't even need autofocus, right? So you might find a old manual lens that has a look that you want, that you even have to adapt, but that's okay because it gives you the look that you like. A lot of different choices there. If you're doing talking head, usually compression is nice. Getting farther away from your subject is nice. So a longer lens, in which case that 35-100, if you're going to buy a Panasonic lens, great lens for that. If you've got the range, right? You may not have the distance in your shooting environment to do that, but if you do, that's a great choice. And again, if you don't need stabilization, you can buy the older lens, the Mark I, which still has stabilization. It's just not as good as what's in the Mark II, and you'd be good to go. So yeah, by all means, consider, if you don't have to worry about stabilization or autofocus, the world is your oyster. There are so many lenses you can choose from. It's just finding one that has the focal length, the aperture, and the look that you overall like. Okay, let's get back to the questions. Oh, let's see here. I think this one was all sorted out. There was yeah, okay. If you are, I'm not going to go through this whole thing because it was resolved outside of the chat, but if you are working with a GH5 and if you're trying to use the extended teleconverter mode in it, which is a built-in crop mode where it crops into the sensor, which if you're shooting stills means you get a smaller still, so it's kind of no point, you may as well crop in post. But if you're shooting video, it's actually really cool because let's say you're shooting 1080p video. Well, your sensor is bigger than 4K, but your output's only 1080p. So normally what the camera's doing is it's shooting the whole sensor, scaling it down to 1080p. You can push into the sensor and use exactly 1920 by 1080 pixels on the sensor and capture 1080p video that way. So what you end up with is effectively a 2x, over 2x zoom. And it's not an optical zoom, you're not scaling up, you are still using pixel for pixel in the sensor. So that is a really cool option. The question, this is on the video about setting up VFR, so last Friday's video. If you're interested in that, go back to that video, look in the comments, look for a conversation by Dieter, D-I-E-T-E-R. He talked about some problems accessing it, but then he figured out how to do it, and his whole thing is in there, and I said, if you've got it, if you don't have it figured out, let me know and I'll address it on the show, but he got it sorted out. So there's a few different settings you have to do to get there. So if that's interesting to you, go look for that conversation. Alrighty. Okay, so here's a question about autofocus. So Charbax is the one who posted this, who's here in the chat today. And I'm going to just address the autofocus as a whole. So there are, unfortunately, a lot of bad videos out there right now on the interwebs about the GH5's autofocus capabilities. You will recall, and I will link to it here, that I did a video a month and a half ago, I think, when I was in Florida for the Luminary Summit. I did a video with Matt Fraser from Panasonic where he explained the autofocus settings. Now, a couple of things here. I agree that these autofocus settings are confusing. There's no doubt about that. Some of the nomenclature is a little bit confusing, possibly even misleading, because it seems you're thinking, well, I think it means that, but it really means that. So a little bit hard to understand until you actually know it. I've gone back and watched that same video several times just to make sure that I am really thinking it through. So you might want to make a little cheat sheet, little notes, just so that you have that. It's unfortunate that that is confusing. You could even say it's unfortunate that we have to have these settings. Why not just say, hey, continuous autofocus, and it just works? The thing is that what Panasonic has done is they've given you, let's put it this way, they've given you enough rope to hang yourself. The idea is that you've got these capabilities in the camera that, as far as I know, no other camera manufacturer is giving you, which is amazing because once you figure it out, you could really, really take ownership of your autofocus. And you can control things like, well, if someone walks across the scene, is it going to refocus on them or is it going to stay locked on the primary subject? That's incredible to be able to do. If you had a universal autofocus setting, well, how quickly should it, right? If you're shooting something where you've got people walking in front of the frame and you don't want it to refocus, maybe it's refocusing and you don't want it to, but you can't change that. Or if you've got the type of subject where things are popping in and out of the lens and you want it to jump on them as quickly as possible, well, those are two completely contradictory things. So a generic autofocus setting can't possibly cover it. So Panasonic has given you the ability to set that exactly the way that you want, which is incredible. But it also means that you do have to fiddle with it and you do have to play with it to get the settings the way you want them. Like I said, enough rope to hang yourself kind of a thing. It's great that you have the control, but for those who don't take the time to learn it, they may not get the best autofocus results. Now, that all said, remember that there is the ability to turn off the custom autofocus, and then you're just in the generic kind of, as Matt Fraser described it in the video, silky smooth video. It's not too fast, not too slow, it's not jarring autofocus, it's very nice between subjects. You have that capability. But if you're looking to do something like track an individual moving towards you in camera, you want to set it up right. So now that that's said, I'm going to hold off on finishing this discussion until tomorrow or another day because I am having a discussion with Panasonic right now about the optimal settings, and there are a couple of open questions and I don't want to mislead anybody. So I am going to stop this autofocus conversation there, except to say that autofocus, I don't know why I'm doing this, except to say that autofocus is tremendous, but you do have to get the settings right to get the best results because the different expectations, different scenarios will give you different results. Think of it this way. Let's say that you're a horse race shooter, as an example. You have a very specific type of autofocus. You want to lock on your racer, and if another horse crosses in front of you, or some person, if you're not on the front line, some person walks in front of you, you don't want the camera refocusing. You want it to stay on that subject. You can control that, right? You have that ability, which other cameras don't give you. So we'll leave it at that. Again, there are optimal settings. You do have to set them correctly. I'm having a discussion with Panasonic about some of these settings. There may be a couple of surprises in there that I was not yet aware of, which is why I'm holding off discussing any further. So I hope that, okay, I know that doesn't help, but I hope that is at least educational, and we will pick up this conversation as soon as I have the rest of the story for you. And yes, I will do a bunch of my own autofocus tests once I've got all of this completely locked in, because I want to show you and the rest of the internet just how good the autofocus actually is on this camera, unlike some of the crappy tests out there, which, you know, I get it. Some people, they just don't know. They're not taking the time to figure it out. But it's unfortunate some really big YouTubers are doing video tests with this and getting bad results because they don't have the camera set right, or they've more specifically set it completely opposite of right, and then they're saying, look, the camera sucks. That's unfortunate. So we're going to try and fix that. All right, Fake Cube says, thanks for getting more info for us. You are quite welcome. There's a lot of confusion out there on the custom setting. And I know. Again, I say frustrating. Okay, last question came in just today and has nothing to do with this. Look at that, a question that's not about this. Their question is about this, shooting with the iPhone. Norman Mont says, could someone tell me why when I shoot in RAW, and this is on the iPhone because I know that because it's on the video about secrets of shooting with the iPhone, the image itself is definitely below the resolution of the iPhone's capability. I most certainly can. This confused the hell out of me too. So here's what happens. Let's say that you're in Lightroom. No, let's use a different app. There is a 500px makes an app called RAW. 500 RAW, 500, no, hold on, let me find the right app. It is called RAW, there you go. RAW by 500px. You can shoot RAW. There's at least a couple other apps that shoot RAW, several, right? We'll use that one as an example. You shoot RAW with that, take a picture, and then you export the unmodified original, okay, so the RAW image to your iPhone's camera roll. And then you use an app like Metafo or one of the other ones that give you metadata results, and it shows you low resolution, very low resolution. Not like a little bit lower, but like a lot lower. And you're going, what the hell? If you, however, then sync that picture to iCloud, via iCloud Photos, what's it, and you open it up in Photos on your desktop, when you first look at the picture, you might, again, see it, this tiny little thing. And then you hit the edit button. And as soon as you hit edit, boom, it goes full size. Here's what's happening. The app like RAW and others are creating a small, just like shooting on your mirrorless, your DSLR, whatever. When you shoot RAW, there are two files. There's the RAW file and there's an embedded JPEG. That embedded JPEG is what you see when you look at the back of the camera. No camera is processing the RAW file in real time, so when you're flipping through your pictures, you're looking at it. You're not looking at the RAW, you're looking at the embedded JPEG. This is why the easiest way to test this is to set your camera to black and white, shoot RAW only, take a picture, look at the picture on the back of the camera, it's in black and white. You open it on your computer, boom, it's color. Because the computer processes the RAW, the phone, the back of your camera processes just the JPEG. That embedded JPEG is not full resolution. And so when you export from RAW by 500px or whatever other app as an original RAW file to the camera roll, and you look at it in the camera roll, you see a low resolution image because all you have ability to access is the embedded JPEG. Photos app does not process RAW files. The whole you can shoot RAW on your iPhone is not done by Apple at all. That is an API that is accessible to third parties, but Apple doesn't actually do it. So you need to use an app like RAW by 500px, Lightroom, Snapseed, which does RAW. Those will access the RAW file. So if, and I haven't tried this, but if you were to export from 500px, RAW by 500px, a RAW file, and then open that RAW file in Snapseed, you should see the full resolution because Snapseed will see it as a RAW file. Or again, take it to the desktop, or shoot in an app like Lightroom Mobile, and from there you have full access to the RAW file from the start. You're shooting it in the app, and you have access to the full resolution app. So, Norman, I hope that answers your question. It was very confusing to me. In fact, I was on in pre-release development, pre-release discussions with 500px about their app, and even their engineers didn't understand that because we were going back and forth for weeks about why am I not getting a full resolution export out of here when I export the unmodified file. And we finally figured out that that was why. So that is why, and I'm sure that that is the the solution to the question that you're asking, and if it's not, then clarify, add another question on there, and we'll do that. Speaking of Lightroom Mobile, you guys, now I gotta wait for this thing to load up. You guys got to check out the podcast. Look at this. Where is it? I changed things. Here we go. My Lightroom Mobile podcast. I've got a new episode. That's episode 1 of season 2 of the Photo Apps podcast. It is all about Lightroom Mobile. It is an interview with Josh Halftel from Adobe. It was a ton of fun. Go to iTunes and search for Photo Apps podcast. Photo Apps is one word. If you search it as 2 words, it still might show up, it might not. It's a little, or if you add PhotoJoseph, it'll definitely show up. But anyway, Photo Apps podcast, that's what you're looking for. It is also on the Google Play Store. However, for some reason, I just discovered this morning, the video versions aren't showing up. They're like, it's listed as processing and has been for the last week. So I shot them a tech support thing to find out what's going on there. But it is on iTunes. Also, it is on photoapps.expert. If you go to photoapps.expert, you can just click on the podcast. In fact, let me show this to you. You can click on the podcast button, which is new, and it will show you the podcast. So here, look at this. If we go here to the Mac, you'll see up here across the side, this is photoapps.expert, the landing page across the top, tips, story, moments, conversations, podcast. Click on podcast, and there she is. I will eventually get the previous season all in here as well. This is a whole new format. We will get that up there, but for now, that's what you want. There's somebody laughing hysterically next door. So yeah, check out the podcast. If you like Lightroom Mobile, it's a great, really fun episode. Josh is a riot. He's really entertaining. Okay, so that, I believe, was the last question. Let me just double check that. I'm sure it was. Where's my browser? There we go. There's Chrome. Yep, that was the last question. So a couple other things came up in the chat here. Joel says, do you think Panasonic has more surprises inside the GH5, like the Panasonic GH5 is more powerful than we thought? Well, yes, because we know that we are gaining power via firmware updates. In the summer is the first one, and then I guess fall, I think, is another one coming. So we know there's more power in there that we don't have access to yet. So we already know that. It's entirely possible that other features will show up. I wouldn't say that there's kind of hidden hardware in there, but new ways to access the same hardware is probably a better way to put it. It's just like, when you upgrade your iPhone, it gains new features. You didn't upgrade the physical phone, you upgraded the OS, and someone figured out, hey, I can do this with that. Yeah. So yeah, you might. I don't know. You never know. Ooh, that's right. That's what I was going to do on Wednesday. So I'm working on a 5 secrets. I'm totally going to pick a really clickbaity title for this. Sorry, but it's going to be something like 5 secrets you didn't know, or top 5 things you didn't know about your GH5. And I've got 5 things. 3 of them are absolutely, these are total winners. 2 of them I got to verify and make sure that they're really, really as good as I think they are. And I'll do a show on those. If I can verify those 2, I'll do that Wednesday, which means the start of the tour will happen later. But don't worry, we're going to get to all of it. I promise you. Okay, let's see. Rumblex says, Lumix camera raw files have JPEG thumbnail, which is about full HD size, about 1920 by 1080. Yeah, they're not full size. I think that some camera, I think Nikon does full size embedded JPEGs. I don't know why. I really don't know why these cameras don't. I wish that they did. There are reasons to make that would make that better, but they don't. So there you go. Okay. Anything else? Nothing else? Oh, no, there are more. Adam says, I noticed you asked about false colors with the GH5 and Sean didn't know the answer. Do you need any more info? No, I don't. Do me a favor, post that as a comment later on this video or another one, and I will look into that, because no, I haven't looked into that at all. Croit says, me and my content are awesome. Why, thank you, Croit. That is very nice of you to say. Mephisto BS, I'm not going to ask what the BS stands for, says, do you have experience with the Voigtlander 10.5mm f/0.95? I do not. It sounds gorgeous, though. Looks like a good choice for wide-angle low-light photography and working well with the GH5. I'm sure the Voigtlander glass is really nice. The only f/0.95 lens that I have experience with is that Zhangyi 25mm 0.95. Amazing. They have a new lens that's 35 or 40 millimeter f/0.95. Crazy, right? Gotta get that sorted out. It looks really cool. I love those all manual super fast, super shallow depth of field lenses. Gorgeous. Alden says, getting back into in-body stabilization, has anyone tested using a VR Canon mount lens with Metabones? No, not me. Metabones, talk to them. They don't want to talk to me, so I can't help you. Jay Peso says, does Panasonic plan to add the focus transition to the app so that you can change focus from the app and not just the camera? That would be super useful. I don't know. Again, post that as a question. I will ask, find out what I can. I haven't played with the app that much. You're talking about the programmed focus transition, A to B to C. What you can do in the app, is tap on the screen where you want it to focus, but that is going to focus as quickly as it can. So if you're looking for that slower, gradual focus from foreground to background subject, if that's not in the app, I'm actually surprised if that's not in the app. But if you say it's not, I believe you. I haven't looked for it. Then check it out. Check it out. Hey, look at that. Norman replied to my comment. I appreciate it. Well, I guess I answered your question then. There you go. Okay, let's see here. Anything else? Nope. That is it. All right, guys. What is that? How do we do this on time? Ooh, look at that. 10 o'clock. Nailed the timing. Okay. I'm out of here, folks. Yeah, that's it. Don't forget to check out the podcast. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. Thumbs down if you have to, but give me a reason why. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share the love. Share the video. If you got tough questions, you know what to do with them. I'll hit them on next Monday's show. Otherwise, have yourselves a fantastic week. Tomorrow we are unboxing these guys right here. Boom. This is going to be fun. I haven't ever put it all together, so it'll be kind of cool to grip and the... Why not, right? Could be fun. All right, guys. Take care of yourselves. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.